Okay, so we'll continue our series on healing, and today we specifically talk about restoration. And I want to start by repeating what we talked about the last couple of weeks. The foundation, the biblical truth is very simple. We are all sick. And not just a little bit sick, to use kind of the physical analogy, not just, oh, it's like having a cold or something like that. It's more like cancer. It's more like something that really destroys our life. We are all really sick. I sin. And because I sin, I hurt myself. And because I sin, I hurt other people as well. And that makes us all sick. Now, guess what? Other people sin as well. They hurt themselves. They hurt each other. And sometimes when other people commit sin, they hurt me as well. And as a result of my sin, as a result of your sin, we are all really, really sick. And the consequence is that we cannot really live the full life that Jesus promised us. Jesus came to give us full life, but because of the sickness, because of the sin, we simply can't live the way that Jesus intended us to live on this life, in this earth. Now, Jesus offers to heal and to restore us. Sin is not the end of the story. It's not like, okay, we have to live like this. We just kind of grudgingly have to get through this earth. And then finally, one day, then we can reach heaven. Jesus said we can experience that now. We can experience the restoration. We can experience the healing today. And we can already, it will not be full. It will not be complete until we reach heaven. But we can already experience it today. And we can already be made more the way we were intended to be if we allow Jesus to transform us. Last week, we then looked at consequences of the fall. Sin has so many terrible consequences. If we simply look at Genesis 3, what happened to Adam and Eve, our identity is lost. We were created as children of God. Who are we now? According to Ephesians, we are children of wrath. Why? Because of sin. Our authority is taken away. We were meant to rule and reign this earth. And what happened in the New Testament? Who is now ruling the earth? Satan is. Of course, the restoration comes with Jesus, but we have to deal with the trouble. Without Jesus, Satan is ruling this world. Work was meant to be something joyful, was meant to be something like playing for kids that we would have real fun at. What happened? A burden was added. Work now becomes a duty and now becomes something that we dread doing. It was not like that from the beginning, but that's the consequence of the fall. Our relationships broke. Adam and Eve started hiding from God. Instead of being in that close communion, instead of being in that close, intimate relationship with them, they suddenly are not able to be in God's presence any longer. Their relationships with each other broke. What happened to Adam and Eve? They started hiding from each other. They started being afraid of each other. And the symbol of that was the clothing that they put on themselves and all that. But it's all a symbol of the real problem. They cannot be as intimate with each other any longer as they are meant to be in the first place. Our freedom is limited. Adam and Eve had to leave the garden and they could not return. Freedom was taken away. And now we look for all kinds of substitutes, all kinds of things to fulfill us, to make us happy. And God wants us to be happy. But now we start looking into this world. We start looking into money. We start looking into fame. We start looking into adoration, all kinds of things. And we think then I will be fulfilled, just to be disappointed again and again and again. And then, of course, sin causes more sin. We also looked at that on Friday in the small group. The Bible is very clear about that. Once we start sinning, more and more sin is coming into our lives. More and more temptations are coming into our lives. And it's getting more and more difficult to not sin. These are all terrible consequences that the fall has, that sin has. And you and I, we might not be aware of it because we are born in this world and we think this is normal. But that's all because of sin. And this all is happening. We have to live like this and with these terrible consequences because I sin. because you sin. And sin has consequences that cannot be denied. All right, so that's our series so far. Now today, I will not speak a lot. I will speak again a little bit in the end. But most of the time today will be a testimony. And we've been talking about it for a year or something that we discussed about sharing, but now is really the right time. You guys felt ready to doing it, and also it fits perfectly with the topic. So without saying much, I want to give it to Martin and Vivian, and they want to share with us how God has been working in their lives.